I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another Patreon review, this time for Johnny. Thank you so much for that. If anyone's ever interested in joining my Patreon, the link for that is down below. Or if you're ever interested in sending me a request of a movie review or a topic or whatever on my PayPal, link for that is down below as well. And the request for today, as you can see, is A Bug's Life. Now, the interesting thing about this is at the time, Pixar who did this, and then there's another guy working there who left. There's some friction, went to DreamWorks, and then developed a movie that, really enough, was another Ant movie called Antz with a Z, which I did review that when I did my Sylvester Stallone marathon. Sadly, that review is gone. Pretty much all the other Stallone reviews are on there except I think Spy Kids 3. Maybe one day I'll re-review them. But I do remember liking Antz. I do like it more than this, which I know is not the typical response. I think between the two, most people would choose this movie. Antz, I would say I like more, not because Stallone is in it. Man, it's cool that he's in it. But just the humor, it was a bit more adult humor in Antz, which is more my cup of tea. And I know Pixar and the people behind this one were really pissed off with the people who made Antz, and this one was more successful. I mean, both were hits, but this one definitely made a lot more money. But even though I like Antz more than this, because again, I like the humor more in Antz than this is not a bad movie. I mean, you got Dave Foley, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Dennis Leary. You have Kevin Spacey, who's your villain. Madeline Kahn. You have a pretty decent voice cast in this. The animation is very well done. You know, Pixar, I would say my favorite Pixar film is Wall-E. But this is, again, straightforward story, well done animation. The story's simple. The grasshoppers, led by Kevin Spacey, they come down to the anthill a certain amount of time and get what the ants gather for them. Roddy McDowall, which I didn't even know he was in this, but it was cool to hear Roddy McDowall's voice because I miss Roddy McDowall. Most people remember him from Planet of the Apes. I always remember him from the original Fright Night and Fright Night 2. Peter Vincent, the fearless vampire killer. I miss Roddy McDowall, and he doesn't have a big role in this, which is a shame, but it was nice to hear his voice. I really do miss him. But Dave Foley's character, he's an ant who's an inventor. One thing leads to another, he screws up, so the food gets fucked up, and the grasshoppers and Kevin Spacey are pissed off. So they have to do it again, and they want Dave Foley to get the fuck out of Dodge. So they go, you go find people, you go find other bugs to help defeat the grasshoppers. No, it's total bullshit, but Dave Foley buys it, hook, line, and sinker, and he does it. the world they create when Dave Foley ventures out and finds this little town with all these bugs. Someone said it best, like, I think Antz, I appreciated that the dialogue I thought was a bit wittier, a bit funnier. This one seemed like a bit more with sight gags. For example, the mosquito that's getting a drink and he gets a Bloody Mary, but it's all positive, so it's a big drop of blood. Which in a weird way is kind of risky if you think about it for Pixar, but... And, the mosquito gets drunk from that. Or one bud that, it's like a homeless bud, but the sign says, "A kid pulled my wings off." One thing leads to another. He finds this circus group, but he misinterprets it as if they're a fighting force. But instead it's a circus group. Denis Leary is a ladybug, and because it's a ladybug, people think he's a lady. And I don't know why. For some reason at first I thought it was Jason Alexander as the voice of that character. I don't know why. When I first heard the voice, I'm like, is this Jason Alexander? I'm like, oh no, it's Denis Leary. Which, I like Denis Leary, so it was nice to hear him in the movie. And you have this stick bug, and you have moth, and you have a spider, and I think the spider's voiced by Bonnie Hunt. And a few other bugs. They get into a fight, and Dave Foley's theater misinterprets it. So then it kind of becomes the Three Amigos. And yeah, it kind of is a Three Amigos version. Three Amigos meets Pixar. That's kind of the story. Now, the voice cast does a good job. It's a short enough film that it went by on a breezy pace. This little ant, I forgot the name of the ant, but very young girl ant. She was cute. The voice actress was not irritating or annoying. I think the character's name was Dot. Forget the actress's name. She was cute. Her and the character Dave Foley plays have a nice little friendship going on. It was sweet. I do like the idea where instead of fighting with force, they try to have this bird. They make a fake bird. That's the plan. After this little action scene where they almost get killed by a real bird, so that sparks the idea. Let's make a fake bird because the grasshoppers would be scared of that. And then, the finale, they win. Kevin Spacey's character gets his just desserts, so to speak. And I don't know, when you review films like this, it's a bit hard. There's a lot of people who are going a little more in-depth and more creative with the reviews. Me, I'm more of the straightforward type of guy, where I can't think of anything I really had a problem with. It's just not a film that grabbed me. I liked the film, but it's not a movie that, I don't know how to put it. I didn't grow with it a tremendous amount. I've seen the film in the past. I'm like, it's okay. One of those reactions. It's fine. But for some reason, it never... I don't know how to put it. I could spark if I talk about Wall-E, for example. But here, I don't want to call it superficial, because that seems like the wrong way to describe it. But I don't know, maybe because the story, you're not really looking for deep merit. But I don't know, just... I can't really put it into words what it is about it that didn't grab me a tremendous amount. I can't... I mean, one critic says the dads pay off with emotional resonance. I didn't really feel an emotional resonance. a great upbeat message. Well, I mean, it's a message that's in plenty of other kids' films. This one says that clever as it is, the film lacks charm. I did kind of gather that, I just, again, that's why it was a bit tough. Sometimes it's tough to do these Patreon requests because it's a movie that's perfectly fine by John Lasseter, the director. Again, there's nothing egregious that I found horrible or terrible or anything of that sort. It's just, I can't think of any jokes that made me really laugh out loud, chuckle. Characters that, they were fine, but I can't say, oh, I love that. Oh, this is interesting. Well, a bad interesting. John Lasseter in 2017 took a 6-month leave of absence after acknowledging allegations of workplace sexual misconduct that he described as missteps with employees in a memo to staff. The alleged misconduct towards employees included grabbing, kissing, and making comments about physical attributes. On June 8, 2018, Disney announced that Lasseter would be leaving the company at the end of the year, but he took on a consulting role until then. This is a guy that directed Toy Story and Toy Story 2, Cars, and he said this happened in 2017. He was an executive producer of Ralph Breaks the Internet. Executive producer, senior creative team of Cars 3, Coco, and Incredibles 2. I almost want to talk about the controversy because that's seemed more interesting than the movie in a weird way. But I just be reading on Wikipedia, and you guys can read Wikipedia. So, I mean, all you do is type in Bugs Live Wiki and you read the whole thing. Definitely check out the controversy portion. It's an intriguing read. I mean, I kind of summed it up at the beginning, but it is a bit more in depth. It's a very interestingly read. But yeah, I don't know, maybe because the finale, for some reason, the finale in a weird way reminded me of Chicken Run, which came out after this, because they both dealt with a contraption that looks like, well, one was a plane that the chickens built, the other is a bird, and then they both get found out, and both involve a character, your villain, being dropped down while the woman in Chicken Run didn't die, and Spacey's character pretty much did. And I don't Chicken Run, I just found a better movie than this. I the ending was more exciting. I think that's the thing, the ending to this film, I didn't find that exciting. Where the circus is doing all these tricks in front of the grasshoppers, and then they have this fake bird, and then it gets found out. Dave Foley gets the shit kicked out of them. And then the ants realize, wait a minute, there's 1 million of us, let's chase them. And then one thing leads to another. Grasshopper has Dave Foley running around, Julie Louis-Dreyfus saves him. Dave Foley has the idea to lead him to a bird, and Kevin Spacey thinks it's another fake bird, and it's, I don't know, just the ending just, I don't know, not awful, but it just wasn't that memorable to me. I know, and it's weird, it's Kevin Spacey, considering the stuff he's done in the real world, but I can still admit he was a good actor. But yeah, it's a perfectly fine movie. I'm just, as you can tell, I'm having a struggle for anything to talk about. So, while I didn't mind the film, it's obviously not a movie that spoke to me or that I love with a passion, that to delve deep into themes. And I don't think this is really a movie that does that. I really don't. I think there are animated films you could do that with. I don't think this film does that. I think it's just, you go in with your kids, you have a fun time, you leave, that's it. Which is nothing wrong with that. But yeah. Those are my boring thoughts on A Bug's Life. Sorry about that, Johnny, who requested this. But thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you in the next video. Later.